Hey guys, Coach Steve. Today we're going to talk about ground reactive force. So we interact with the ground in three different ways to create speed. First, we interact laterally. That's a pushing off from the rear leg, pushing our center of gravity to the lead leg. And then we interact with the ground rotationally. So that's what we call the rotational force or torque. And then we interact with the ground in a vertical fashion, which is a pushing off. So in regards to these three different forces, there is a biomechanist in France named J.P. Hernandez who showed that the peak force window for the lateral force should be where the lead arm is at 45 degrees in the backswing. That's when you want to push maximally from your trail leg. The maximum rotational force, he also identified, is when your arm reaches a horizontal position parallel to the ground. That's when you want to have the most torque. And then the peak vertical force will be when the club reaches the 9 o'clock position in the downswing. As a golf teacher, I'm very aware of the fact that most people are late on all of these forces. They start way too late generating the force. And what ends up happening is they've already hit the ball and they haven't even done the peak rotational or vertical force. And they basically have just started with the lateral force. So you do have to get going a little bit earlier on these things. One of the things that stops people from generating the peak vertical force at the end is lead hip stability. Now what will happen is they'll push their center of gravity from the right leg to the lead leg, and because of stability issues, generally with the ankle or possibly restrictions in the hip, they won't rotate and launch. They'll end up just sort of sliding over and the ankle will tip off to the side. And then their upper body will tend to fall backwards. Now that could be because of tissue restrictions in the hip flexors. Also can be because of the ankle restrictions. When I turn my ankle this way, that's called eversion. That's called inversion. Eversion is how I would create braking force with my ankle. And if I can't do that, I'm just going to tend to roll over on the side. Be the equivalent of catching an edge when you're skiing and falling on your nose. So when you push with the right leg to the left leg, you have to be able to catch that force and route it around the corner and then up. And there's a couple ways you can train that. I'm just going to use this self-made device. It's just a ping pong paddle which I sawed off the handle and I nailed it on the back so that it acts sort of like a wobble board. And I'm going to put that on the ground and use that as a little bit of a wedge to help me really just notice where my edge is and feel that redirection into the vertical force. So all the lateral force I'm creating gets redirected into a vertical path. I'm just going to do a few swings on that. And right now, as it currently is, it's helping me to evert my foot. Now, that's not something I want to practice a lot because it's helping me and I'm not doing the work myself. I'm just going to do it a couple times so that I notice how it feels. And then I'm going to do the exact opposite and try to create the mistake by putting my foot in a actually compromised position, wanting to invert. And I'm going to try to still hold the edge. Now that's harder, but I'm actually using the muscles that are necessary to stabilize the lead hip and then to rotate and launch. And after I've kind of got that feel and I'm not falling off the edge like this, then I'm going to go ahead and hit some balls. So that really taxes my left leg and helps me to stabilize the ankle and to convert that lateral energy that I started at the beginning into rotational and then vertical energy to finish off the swing. Now if I can get the feel of that, I can get my vertical forces more in the correct time windows that they're supposed to be in, instead of being late. Let's try that again. Another way to practice it is to simply find a downhill lie and then position yourself so that you are at a right angle to the slope. And then just try to do some swings where you post up on your lead leg and try not to fall down the slope. Let me just demonstrate that. Okay, there's a couple ways to practice that. Have fun. See you next time.